Hey there, Carr here. I just want to say that I'm happy to see more positivity circulating around on social media with regards to the subject of self-care. I think it can be helpful for those struggling with depression or disillusionment to get friendly reminders to take time to care for their own physical and mental well-being. Even if someone is physically fit, depression can make simple day-to-day tasks like showering or toothbrushing a chore. And actually, I want to talk to you about toothbrushing today. Medical science has shown that oral health is actually a pretty big deal and is one of the key contributors to our longevity as a species. A whole host of lethal complications can arise from prolonged poor oral hygiene. Therefore, we are taught to do it as children. It's a simple, yet very important task that we need to do. And we know we need to do it. If you maintain good dental health, that's great, but usually one doesn't expect to gain a sense of validation or accomplishment just from the act of doing so. If you're a parent or have any background caring for small children, you may have even encountered a headstrong but lovable little tot who rejects the notion of brushing their teeth as it is such an insignificant part of their schedule, they don't see the merit in performing the task. But they still need to. Because as simple as it is on the surface, you and I, as adults, realize that if this task is neglected, there are far deeper ramifications. You may not feel rewarded for doing it, but you know that it is the bare minimum to living a healthy life. Now, the sharper among you have probably picked up on what I'm really talking about here, so let's get to the point. We're going to talk about voting and electoralism. Now, as with most of our chats, I'll be speaking from the perspective of a black man living in the United States. I hope in the future I can make more videos engaging with some of the single-digit nations and their applicable subjects. That said, I recognize right off the bat that there are some legitimate cases where voting is something that could be rightly opposed from an ideological standpoint. In the case of Canada, there's at least one indigenous group whose name I don't want to butcher here, who can make a solid claim to the fact that they do not recognize the colonialist nation to whom they never ceded their land. I am sure there are plenty of examples of this across the planet. But today, I'm going to talk about non-indigenous voters based in North America. There's been some pretty heated discussions on the subject of voting, especially now as we enter yet another general election season. In 2016, progressive voters who didn't want to vote for an incompetent, senile, egocentric corporate failson were given one of the most unlikable establishment party stalwarts to vote for. This is, of course, after the Democratic Party essentially gamed the system to ensure that they could stack delegates in favor of said garbage-tier candidate. As opposed to the more popular, more progressive, more down-to-earth candidate. This led to a pretty strong disillusionment with the concept of voting in general. Another problem with the presidential general election is the Electoral College. I'm not going to deep dive into the math of the Electoral College, but just know that the existence of the Electoral College guarantees that the votes of some Americans carry considerably more weight than others. This is antithetical to the concept of democracy. Then you sprinkle in some voter suppression through such fun hallmarks like strict voter ID laws, refusing to make voting day a national holiday, refusing compulsory voting and automatic voter registration, voter roll purges, and good old-fashioned ballot tampering. So when you look at the two-party system, specifically how useless the Democratic Party is and how inundated with far-right ideologies the Republican Party has become, you really begin to wonder if there is much point in voting. Well, the lesson we've learned over the last 3 years is that elections have consequences. We have a Senate Majority Leader right now who has made it his goal to completely forego doing his constitutional duty. And he is an elected official. The president who emboldens him and doesn't challenge this dereliction of duty is also an elected official. The president can appoint Supreme Court justices aligned with his ideals, and this could literally mean the reversal of rights for marginalized groups in an increasingly volatile nation. Now, I don't want to discount criticism against the focus on federal elections. As I said earlier, voting every 4 years in the primaries and the general election is the bare minimum. A large percentage of policies that are most likely to affect you in your everyday life were actually decided at the local and state level. And history has shown that direct action does get results. Minneapolis is set to dissolve their municipal police department. This is after months of protests. Kentucky has banned no-knock raids, and multiple cities and counties across the country have already begun the process of defunding and overhauling their police departments. Pounding the pavement works. Letters and phone campaigns work. Protests work. This works. Don't ever let anyone tell you that direct action is ineffective. Liberal politicians may tend to be the idiot children of the wealthy, and they love above all else status quo. When you challenge status quo, they must either change it or deal with a potential threat to their careers as elected officials. Heck, in the last 3 years, my city has all but decriminalized marijuana possession offenses, banned hair discrimination in the workplace, and banned breed-specific legislation for dogs. You need only to take to Google and look for groups organizing in your area, or find the current ballot initiatives for your city, county, and state. If you don't find the group or ballot item, well, now you have something to contribute. Finally, I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. I'm here to tell you that no matter what form your direct action takes, be it masking up and hitting the streets, online petitions, phone calls, or community organizing, find a way to contribute that works for you. And along the way, don't forget to brush your teeth. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, click the notification bell, and leave a comment if you want. Follow me on Twitch, where I stream video games and give lectures. Follow me on Twitter, where I can scream at you for washing your chicken. And if you are willing to help me continue to make videos like this, I do have a Patreon. Thanks again.